The smell of roasted turkey and pine filled my parents' dining room as the entire Martinez family gathered for Christmas dinner. 23 people crammed around tables pushed together, crystal glasses clinking, everyone in their holiday best. I sat near the end, phone in hand, refreshing my email every 30 seconds. The Forbes 30 Under 30 list was dropping today, Christmas Day of all days, and I'd been sworn to secrecy for 2 weeks. Attention everyone. My father stood, tapping his wine glass with a fork. Before we eat, I want to recognize someone special. Lauren, stand up. My older sister rose, beaming in her red cashmere sweater. She was 34, a middle school English teacher, beloved by students and parents alike. Lauren just won Teacher of the Year for the entire district, Dad announced, voice swelling with pride. 500 teachers and our Lauren came out on top. That's real achievement. That's making a difference in the world. The room erupted in applause. My mother dabbed her eyes with a napkin. My aunts and uncles stood for a standing ovation. Even my teenage cousins looked impressed. Speech. Speech. Uncle Carlos called out. Lauren laughed, modest and graceful. Thank you all. I'm honored. Teaching is my calling. It's not about money or fame. It's about shaping young minds, changing lives one student at a time. That's what real work looks like. More applause. My father hugged her, then turned to address the room. This is what success looks like, family. Stability, respect, community impact. Not chasing trends or get-rich-quick schemes. Real work that matters. His eyes flicked to me just for a second. Message received. I kept my expression neutral and checked my phone again. Nothing yet. My cousin Miguel leaned over, whispering, Dude, put the phone away. You're being rude. Just waiting for something. On Christmas? Come on, Jordan. Whatever internet thing you're doing can wait. I said nothing. As everyone settled in to eat, my Aunt Rosa addressed the table. So, Lauren, what's next for you? Principal track? Curriculum director. Lauren smiled. Actually, I've been offered a position developing reading programs at the state level. It's a significant pay increase and a chance to impact education policy. That's wonderful, my mother gushed. See everyone, this is how you build a career. Step by step, earning respect, making real contributions. Unlike some people, my brother-in-law Eric muttered, just loud enough for me to hear. Who wastes their 20s playing on computers? Several people glanced my way. I carved my turkey and said nothing. Eric has a point, my father said, setting down his fork. Jordan, we need to discuss this. You're 29 years old. You've been doing this internet business thing for 6 years now. When are you going to get serious about your future? I am serious about my future, Dad. Are you? Because from where we're sitting, you're frittering away your prime earning years on some website company nobody understands. You live in a tiny apartment, drive a 15-year-old car, and as far as we can tell, you're barely scraping by. That's not. Let me finish. His voice hardened. Your sister has a pension, health benefits, job security. Your cousin Miguel just made partner at his law firm. Your cousin Sophia is a nurse practitioner. These are real careers with real futures. What do you have? The table had gone silent. 23 pairs of eyes watched me. I have a company that... A company, Uncle Carlos laughed. Jordan, you're a freelancer with a fancy title. We've been patient with your experiment, but it's time to face facts. Your internet business isn't working. How would you know if it's working? You've never asked about it. Because we don't need to ask, my mother said, her voice gentle but pitying. We have eyes, honey. You never go on vacation. You work constantly. You don't have savings for a house or retirement. These are signs of struggle, not success. Maybe I'm investing in growth instead of... Investing in growth, Eric snorted. That's startup talk for, I'm broke but don't want to admit it. Jordan, I work in finance. I know what real business looks like. Whatever you're doing isn't it. My father leaned forward. Here's what we're proposing. Miguel's law firm is expanding their IT department. It's a stable job, good salary, room for advancement. He can get you an interview after the holidays. I don't need. Pride isn't going to pay your bills, my father said firmly. This internet fantasy has gone on long enough. We're your family. We want to help you. But you have to be willing to accept reality. What reality is that? That you're not Mark Zuckerberg. You're You're not going to stumble into billions with a website. You're a smart kid who went down the wrong path, and it's time to correct course before you waste your entire 30s too. My phone buzzed. My heart jumped. But it was just my business partner. Forbes drops in 15 minutes. You ready? I typed back, ready. Lauren noticed me texting. Jordan, seriously? Dad's trying to help you and you're on your phone? This is exactly the problem. You can't disconnect. You're addicted to that device and whatever fantasy world you've created. I'm not in a fantasy world. Then explain this, my Aunt Rosa said. Explain why a successful businessman would live like a college student. Explain why you never talk about your work. Explain why you can't afford nice things. I can afford nice things. I choose not to spend money on them. Why not? My mother asked. If your business is so successful, why not enjoy the fruits of your labor? Why not buy a house, a decent car, take a vacation? Unless... Her face fell. Oh honey, are you in debt? Is that what this is? I'm not in debt, Mom. Then what? My father demanded. What is this mysterious company you run that requires you to live like a monk? What do you even do? I run a software company called... And no one wants to hear about your internet business, my father announced, cutting me off. We've been polite for years, Jordan. We've listened to your vague explanations about software solutions and cloud platforms. None of us understand it, and frankly, none of us believe it's as legitimate as you claim. The words hung in the air. 23 people nodded in agreement, turning back to their meals, dismissing me entirely. My phone buzzed again. Forbes, 30 under 30 list live now. Check your Twitter. My hands trembled slightly as I opened the app. There it was, pinned to the top of Forbes' feed. Introducing the 2024 Forbes 30 under 30 list. Meet the young innovators reshaping business, technology, and society. I clicked the link. The list loaded. And there, at number 1 in the technology category, was my name, Jordan Martinez, 29, founder and CEO of CloudSync Solutions. Below my professional headshot, the description read, Martinez built CloudSync from his apartment into the fastest-growing enterprise cloud security platform in the industry. Annual revenue, $340 million. Client roster includes 18 Fortune 500 companies and the Department of Defense. Recent Series C funding valued the company at $1.8 billion. Martinez owns 64% of shares, making him one of the youngest self-made technology entrepreneurs in America. I stared at the screen, reading it 3 times to make sure it was real. Jordan, are you even listening? My father's voice pulled me back. Put the phone away. This is family time. I looked up at him, then at the faces around the table. All of them certain I was a failure, all of them convinced they knew better. Dad, you should check Forbes' Twitter. What? Why would I? Just check it. Everyone should check it. Jordan, we're eating Christmas dinner. We're not interested in your internet stuff right now. My cousin Sophia pulled out her phone anyway, curious despite herself. She typed, scrolled, and then her face went completely white. Oh my God. What? Lauren asked. He's on. Oh my God. Sophia turned her phone to show Lauren. Lauren's eyes widened. She grabbed the phone, read quickly, and her expression transformed from superiority to shock. This can't be real. What can't be real? My mother was getting anxious now. Jordan's name is on the Forbes 30 under 30 list. Number 1 in technology. The room went silent. That's impossible, my father said flatly. Forbes? The Forbes. I'm looking at it right now, Sophia said. Jordan Martinez, CEO of CloudSync Solutions. It says his company makes $340 million in annual revenue. My mother's face went pale. 340. And he owns 64%, Sophia continued reading. Which means his personal stake is worth over $1 billion. Let me see that, Uncle Carlos demanded, grabbing Sophia's phone. His lips moved as he read. Department of Defense, 18 Fortune 500 companies, valued at $1.8 billion. He looked up at me, stunned. Is this real? It's real. But, how did we not know? My mother whispered. $1 billion. Our son is a billionaire and we didn't know. I tried to tell you. 2 years ago at Thanksgiving I mentioned CloudSync closed a $200 million Series B. You changed the subject to Lauren's classroom decorating award. Last Christmas I said we were signing contracts with Microsoft and Amazon. You asked if that meant I was doing tech support for them. My father's face had turned an alarming shade of red. You're telling me, all this time we thought you were struggling, you were running a billion-dollar company? I tried to explain my work. Every time I brought it up, someone said no one wanted to hear about my internet business. Miguel was frantically Googling on his phone now. Holy shit, there are articles. TechCrunch, Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg. CloudSync's meteoric rise. The quiet success of Jordan Martinez. From apartment startup to Pentagon contractor. He looked at me with something like awe. Jordan, you're famous in the tech world. Not famous. Just successful. Just successful? Eric's voice cracked. You're worth over $1 billion. That's not just successful, that's extraordinary. My mother stood abruptly, her chair scraping loudly. She moved toward me, arms outstretched, tears streaming. Jordan, honey, I'm so sorry. We didn't understand. We thought. You thought I was a failure, I said quietly. You thought I was wasting my life. You were ready to stage an intervention and force me into Miguel's IT department. We were trying to help, my father protested. How were we supposed to know? By asking. By showing interest. By treating my career with the same respect you show Lauren's teaching or Miguel's law practice. But you didn't. You decided it wasn't legitimate and nothing I said could change your minds. Lauren had tears in her eyes now. Jordan, I'm sorry. The way I talked about real work. I didn't mean to belittle what you do. I just didn't understand. You didn't want to understand, I corrected. None of you did. It was easier to assume I was failing than to admit you didn't comprehend my industry. My phone was exploding now with notifications. Congratulations from investors, clients, other entrepreneurs. Interview requests from CNN, CNBC, Bloomberg. Messages from friends celebrating. And one from my business partner. We did it, man. Top of the Forbes list. Told you we'd change the world. My Aunt Rosa found her voice, though it was small. Jordan, what does CloudSync do exactly? We provide cloud security infrastructure for enterprises. Encryption, access management, threat detection. When companies move their data to the cloud, we keep it safe from breaches. And the Pentagon uses your software? Uncle Carlos asked, still in shock. Most of the federal government does. Plus major banks, healthcare systems, tech companies. We protect the data infrastructure that runs modern society. 340 million in revenue, my father repeated, like he was trying to make the number real. Last year. Yes. This year we're projecting 500 million. My mother sat down heavily, staring at her untouched turkey. We told you to get a real job. We mocked your internet business. Oh God, Jordan, what have we done? You showed me who you really are, I said, standing. You showed me that your love and respect came with conditions. Lauren gets praised for Teacher of the Year because you understand teaching. I build a company that protects national security, and you tell me to work in IT support. That's not fair, my father said desperately. We just wanted what was best for you. No. You wanted what was comfortable for you. What you could explain to your friends. What fit your definition of success. And when I succeeded on my own terms in my own way, you couldn't see it because you weren't looking. I grabbed my coat from the rack near the door. Where are you going? My mother asked, panicked. We haven't even had dessert. We need to talk about this. We need to. You need to process the fact that your narrative was wrong. I need to get back to my apartment, the tiny one you're so ashamed of, because I have calls with Forbes, Bloomberg, and 3 venture capital firms who want to discuss our Series D funding. Jordan, please, Lauren said, tears streaming. Don't leave like this. We're sorry. We were wrong. We're so incredibly wrong and we know it now. I believe you're sorry. But you're sorry because Forbes validated me, not because you suddenly respect my work. You're sorry because my success is now public and quantifiable. You weren't sorry when you thought I was poor. My cousin Sophia spoke up, her voice shaking. Jordan, we love you. That doesn't change. Doesn't it? Because 30 minutes ago, Dad was ready to force me into a corporate IT job because he was embarrassed by my career. Now that you know I'm a billionaire, suddenly it's, we love you, we're sorry we were wrong. That's not love. That's opportunism. I opened the door, cold December air rushing in. When you're ready to actually respect my work, not just the dollar amount attached to it. Let me know. Merry Christmas. I walked out, leaving them frozen around the Christmas table, surrounded by half-eaten turkey and the ruins of their certainty. Behind me I heard my mother's sobs, my father's stunned silence. Lawrence whispered, "What have we done?" My phone buzzed continuously as I drove home. Forbes wanted an interview. TechCrunch wanted a profile. CNBC wanted me on Squawk Box. The tech world was celebrating CloudSync's recognition, congratulating me on making the prestigious list. My family was silent. I pulled into my apartment complex, the one they'd mocked for being small. It was a 4-unit building I'd bought 2 years ago. I lived in one unit, rented out the others. Property value had tripled. Inside my tiny apartment, I opened my laptop and joined the video call with my team. 12 faces appeared on screen, everyone grinning, some holding champagne. "There he is," my CTO shouted. "Forbes 30 under 30, #1 in technology. Jordan, you crushed it." "We crushed it," I corrected. "This is all of our success." "How was Christmas dinner?" my business partner asked. "Did you tell your family?" "They found out. Through Forbes' Twitter." "Oh man. How'd that go?" "About as well as you'd expect. We spent 2 hours strategizing, interviews to accept, partnerships to pursue, Series D planning. My team was brilliant, dedicated, passionate about our work. They'd believed in CloudSync when it was just an idea and a pitch deck. Unlike my family, who'd needed Forbes to tell them I was worth believing in. My phone lit up around midnight. Text from my father, "Jordan, we need to talk. Please. Your mother is devastated." Then my mother, "I'm so proud of you. Always have been. Please come back so we can celebrate properly." Then Lauren, "I love you, little brother. I'm sorry I didn't see how amazing you are. Can we start over?" I set the phone down without responding. Maybe eventually I'd forgive them. Maybe eventually we'd rebuild our relationship on actual respect instead of conditional approval. But that was a problem for tomorrow. Tonight I was Forbes 30 under 30, #1 in technology. Tonight I was the CEO of a company that secured data for millions of users. Tonight I was proof that unconventional paths could lead to extraordinary success. And I'd done it all while my family wasn't watching. The irony would never stop being funny. But at least now they'd finally started paying attention. The planning dinner was at Luminaire, the restaurant where Caroline wanted her rehearsal. Truffle oil and quiet money, that's what the air smelled like. White tablecloths so crisp they could cut skin. "Diane still works at that nonprofit," Caroline said, holding up the seating chart like evidence in court. "It's embarrassing. We can't have her at the head table looking like that." Mom's pen was already moving across my name. Clean, decisive strokes. The kind you use when erasing a mistake. "She makes what, 40,000? My brother Marcus added. "Jessica's friends are all executives. Doctors. What's Diane going to talk about?" "Homeless people." Dad sipped his wine. Said nothing. That silence was its own verdict. I'd worked in event coordination for 12 years before starting my nonprofit. I knew exactly how Luminaire operated. I knew because I'd consulted for their ownership group in 2019, restructuring their vendor contracts, saving them $340,000 annually. The owner, Richard Chin, sent me a bottle of 1990 Chateau Margaux as thanks. I also knew that Caroline's deposit, $15,000 for the venue, plus another $8,000 for the rehearsal dinner, had been paid by a corporate card registered to DRP Event Solutions. My company. My card. Caroline had asked to use my connections 8 months ago. Could I help with vendor discounts? Maybe leverage my nonprofit relationships? I'd smiled, agreed, and quietly paid for everything while she bragged to the family about her fiancé's generosity. I pulled out my phone under the table. Typed one email to my operations director, Kira. "Cancel Parker Reynolds' wedding. All contracts. Immediate." Caroline's phone rang during dessert. She glanced at the screen, Luminaire's venue manager, and sent it to voicemail, annoyed at the interruption. It rang again 30 seconds later. "Excuse me," she said, stepping away from the table with practiced grace. The kind of grace that comes from never being told no. We could hear her voice from the hallway. Professional at first. Then confused. Then shrill. He came back to the table pale. Actually pale, not the controlled blush she usually performed. The venue manager says our deposit was refunded, Caroline said slowly, like the words didn't make sense in that order. They're saying the account holder requested cancellation. But that's impossible. Jason paid. I paid, I said. The table went silent. What? Mom's voice was sharp. The deposit. The rehearsal dinner contract. The floral retainer at Botanica Gardens. The photography advance with Chin Studios. The cake deposit at Sucre. I paid for all of it. 8 months ago. You asked me to help with my connections. Marcus laughed. Actually laughed. Diane, this isn't funny. DRP Event Solutions, I continued. My consulting company. The one I started after leaving event coordination. We do corporate event planning, vendor negotiations, and contract management for high-net-worth clients. Last year's revenue was $2.4 million. This year we're projected at $3.1 million. I opened my phone, pulled up the payment portal, turned the screen toward Caroline. Transaction history. $15,000 to Luminaire. $8,000 to Luminaire Catering. $4,500 to Botanica Gardens. $6,000 to Chin Studios. $2,800 to Sucre Patisserie. All paid from my corporate account. All refunded 2 hours ago. Caroline's hands were shaking. You can't. This is my wedding. I did. Every contract lists DRP Event Solutions as the primary account holder. You're listed as the event contact. When the primary account holder requests cancellation and refund, venues comply. It's standard. Dad finally spoke. Diane, this is unreasonable. What's unreasonable? I said, voice level, is being told I'm too embarrassing to sit with my own family. What's unreasonable is my mother crossing my name off a seating chart like I'm a typo. I stood up. Left $200 bills on the table for my untouched meal. You wanted successful family only at that head table, I said. I've removed myself. And my $36,300 in deposits. I walked out of Luminaire into the November cold. Sharp and biting. The kind that makes you feel clean. The ghost ledger. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I opened a new spreadsheet. Title: The Cost of Being Invisible. Line item 1. Caroline's college graduation. I flew from Seattle to Boston. Took 2 days off work. Bought the Kate Spade bag she wanted, $3.40. At dinner, Dad toasted her accomplishments for 8 minutes. When it was my turn, Mom cut me off after 40 seconds. We need to order. Cost, self-worth. Memory of being celebrated. Never recoverable. Line item 2. Marcus's promotion party. I coordinated the entire event at his request. Booked the venue using my vendor relationships. Saved him $4,000. During speeches, his boss asked who planned it. Marcus said, a professional coordinator. Very expensive. I was standing 10 feet away. Cost, professional acknowledgement. The phrase, my sister did this. Never refunded. Line item 3. Mom's 60th birthday. I spent 3 months planning the surprise party. Guest list of 50. Caroline arrived late, brought store-bought wine. Mom's thank you speech. Caroline, you always know exactly what I need. Cost, recognition. The sentence, Diane organized this. Never spoken. Line item 4. Family Christmas every year. I give thoughtful gifts, researched and personal. Last year I gave Dad a first edition of his favorite Steinbeck novel. $2.80. He opened it, said, nice, moved on. Caroline gives gift cards. Gets hugged for being practical. Cost, belief that effort matters. Erosion happens slowly then suddenly. Line item 5. The nonprofit years. 8 years running homeless services. Started with $12,000 in savings. Now serving 340 people annually. 89% program efficiency. Featured in Seattle Times. Mom's response when I sent the article, that's nice, honey. Caroline got promoted to VP. Cost, family pride. The words, we're proud of you. Never issued. Line item 6. Every phone call. I call weekly. Tell them about grant wins, new housing contracts, people we've helped. Response, polite. Brief. Then, did you hear Caroline bought a Tesla? Cost, enthusiasm. The feeling someone cares about your victories. Depleted. Line item 7. This planning dinner. I pay for their wedding. Leverage 12 years of industry relationships. Save them tens of thousands. Get uninvited from the head table for being unsuccessful. Cost, dignity. The belief family means something. Balance now 0. Total cost. 1 relationship, unsalvageable. I saved the spreadsheet. Sent it to no one. Some ledgers exist just so you know the math is real. Internal reflection. The slot machine theory. There's a concept in psychology called the gambler's fallacy. You keep feeding the slot machine because you're convinced the jackpot is coming. One more quarter. One more kind gesture. One more attempt to prove your worth. The fallacy isn't that you're playing. It's that you think the machine has memory. That it's tracking your investment and will eventually pay out because you've earned it. Family worked like that for me. I kept depositing love, effort, professional success, thinking eventually the display would light up. Congratulations, you matter. But slot machines don't have memory. They're programmed for randomness and profit. And some families operate the same way. I think I knew this at Caroline's college graduation. That moment when mom cut me off mid-sentence to order appetizers. Something small died then. Something that whispers, they'll see you eventually. Just keep trying. But I kept feeding the machine. There was a specific moment. A sensory memory I can't shake. Marcus's promotion party. I was standing near the bar watching him accept congratulations for an event I'd designed. The bartender asked if I wanted another drink. I said no. The background noise went blurry. Laughter, clinking glasses, classic jazz. And for 5 seconds I felt completely invisible. Not ignored. Invisible. Like I could walk out and the party would continue, perfect and complete, never noticing the absence. That's when I started my consulting company. Not as revenge. As proof of concept. Could I exist successfully outside their validation? Could I build something real that didn't require their applause to be legitimate? 3 years later. $2.4 million in revenue. Clients in 6 states. A team of 8. Industry awards. Media features. The slot machine never paid out. But I stopped playing. Procedural justice. How systems protect themselves. The morning after the planning dinner, my phone rang at 7 a.m. Richard Chin, owner of Luminaire. Diane, I got a call from a very upset bride. Caroline Parker. She's saying there's been a mistake with her deposit. No mistake, I said. I'm the account holder. I requested cancellation and refund. All contracts list DRP Event Solutions as primary. She's threatening legal action. She can try. The contracts are clear. Primary account holder has full cancellation rights within the refund window. We're 43 days out from the event. Your policy allows refunds up to 30 days prior with 25% retention. I'm within terms. Silence on the line. Then, you paid for your sister's wedding and she uninvited you. From the head table. For being unsuccessful. Richard laughed. It was brief but genuine. I'll handle her attorney if she calls. Your contract law is solid. And Diane? That restructuring you did for us in 2019? We're still using your vendor framework. You saved us another $90,000 last quarter. Thank you, Richard. Thank you. And I'm sorry your family is stupid. Caroline hired an attorney. James Morrison from Barrett & Klein. He sent a demand letter to DRP Event Solutions within 48 hours. My attorney, Patricia Zhao, responded same day. DRP Event Solutions was the primary account holder on all contracts related to the Parker Reynolds wedding. Ms. Diane Parker, as CEO of DRP Event Solutions, executed standard cancellation procedures within contractual terms. All deposits have been refunded per vendor policies. Ms. Caroline Parker was listed only as event contact, not account holder. She has no legal standing to challenge cancellations executed by the primary account holder. Marcus called me directly. Furious. You're destroying Caroline's wedding over a seating chart? That's insane. I'm not destroying anything. I've simply withdrawn my financial support. She's free to rebook everything. At full price. With a new deposit. We don't have $36,000 sitting around. Then maybe she shouldn't have uninvited the person who was paying for it. He hung up. Mom called next. Her voice had that controlled disappointment she'd perfected. The one that made you feel 6 years old and guilty for existing. Dan, this is cruel. You're punishing your sister on what should be the happiest day of her life. She punished me, I said simply. At a planning dinner for a wedding I was funding. He called me embarrassing. You crossed my name off the seating chart. Those were choices. You're being dramatic. I'm being factual. The contracts list my company as the account holder. I exercised standard cancellation rights. If she wants to get married at Luminaire, she can pay the deposits herself. We thought Jason had paid. He thought wrong. For 8 months, I've been quietly covering costs while she bragged about her fiancé's generosity. I helped because I'm family. Then I got uninvited from the head table for being unsuccessful. So I stopped helping. Your father thinks you're being spiteful. Tell Dad that spite would be showing up at the wedding and making a scene. What I did was business. Clean, documented, legal. The family business he's so proud of should appreciate that. I hung up before she could respond. Consequence cascade. The consequences arrived like dominoes. Slow at first, then accelerating. Week 1. Caroline tried to rebook Luminaire. The venue was now $22,000 for her date. Spring wedding season, high demand. She didn't have it. She tried Botanica Gardens. They were booked until October. Chin Studios? Booked. Sucre Patisserie? 6-month waitlist. Every vendor I'd secured with my industry relationships, now unavailable. Week 2. Caroline's story spread through the extended family. Aunt Ruth called me, voice stiff. I heard what you did. That was extreme. I withdrew financial support after being told I was too embarrassing to sit with successful family. Still, it's her wedding. It's my money. Aunt Ruth didn't call back. 3 cousins sided with Caroline. 2 sided with me. The rest stayed silent. The kind of silence that chooses sides through inaction. Week 3. Jason's parents got involved. They offered to cover some costs. Found a different venue, the Berkshire Hotel. Less prestigious. Available because someone else had canceled. Caroline cried on the phone to Mom. I know because Mom called me, voice breaking. She's devastated. This isn't the wedding she wanted. Then she shouldn't have made it contingent on erasing me. Week 4. The wedding got rescheduled. Smaller. The Berkshire Hotel, 120 guests instead of 180. Local photographer instead of Chin Studios. Grocery store cake instead of Sucre. I received no invitation. Not even to the ceremony. I didn't expect one. 6 months later. I got a message from my event coordinator, Kira. Luminaire wants to profile you for their Vendor Excellence series. They want to feature the work you did restructuring their operations. Richard specifically requested you. I did the interview. It published in Event Professional magazine 3 weeks later. 2-page spread. Photo of me at Luminaire, in the private dining room Caroline had wanted for her rehearsal dinner. The headline, How Diane Parker Built a $3.1 million Event Consulting Empire by Mastering the Details That Matter. Caroline saw it. I know because Marcus texted me. Really? You had to do the interview at Luminaire? I didn't respond. The ending, 2 years later. DRP Event Solutions now operates in 4 cities. Revenue last year, $4.2 million. We've expanded into corporate retreat planning and nonprofit fundraising galas. I'm planning a gala for my homeless services nonprofit next month. Luminaire is hosting. 300 guests. Expected fundraising, $180,000. Richard Chin is donating the venue cost. He told me, what you did that night, walking away from people who didn't value you, that took guts. I respect that. Caroline got married at the Berkshire Hotel. I saw photos on social media. Looked fine. Perfectly fine. The kind of fine that comes from compromise and reduced expectations. I don't speak to my parents anymore. Or Marcus. Or Caroline. The last contact was 18 months ago. Mom sent a text. Can we talk about reconciliation? I responded. I'm open to that conversation when you can articulate specifically what you're apologizing for. She never replied. Sometimes I think about that planning dinner. The smell of truffle oil. Mom's pen crossing out my name. The decisive cruelty of it. And I think, she wanted successful family only at that head table. She got exactly what she asked for. I just wasn't sitting at it.